Dillon Gabriel's discomfort was impossible to ignore as Shedeur Sanders took control during practice. There was a moment when Gabriel hesitated, then overthrew a simple out route. It wasn't just a bad pass. It was a visible unraveling. Sanders, meanwhile, executed flawlessly, commanding the offense with the kind of urgency the Browns haven't seen all season. That single practice didn't just expose differences in performance. It exposed fragility. Gabriel didn't just look outplayed. He looked shaken. And in that moment, the coaching staff saw what everyone else already suspected. This team's starting quarterback was no longer playing like one.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
That single practice session might be remembered as the exact moment the team shifted. It wasn't just that Sanders performed better. It was how sharply the gap between the two quarterbacks defined itself. As Gabriel faltered under pressure, Sanders rose, showcasing every attribute a team looks for in a leader. Footwork, poise, vision. He had it all. The Browns are now facing a decision with serious weight. Stick with an unraveling Gabriel, or seize the momentum Sanders created. Every delay by Coach Stefanski is turning a bold decision into a bigger risk. 2. It was supposed to be a regular day at Browns practice. Just another set of drills, just another quarterback rotation, just another routine. But what actually happened on that field? That was anything but ordinary. That was a full-blown shift in the team's atmosphere. And honestly, it might have been the beginning of the end for Dillon Gabriel. Because while Gabriel was out there struggling to make reads, overthinking throws, and underwhelming the crowd with the same flat performance we've seen all season, Shedeur Sanders stepped onto that field and owned it. And not in a decent backup kind of way. No, this was dominance. Precise footwork, lightning-fast decision-making, total command of the huddle. You could feel it. Something had shifted. And the tension? Thick enough to cut with a knife. And here's the thing. This isn't new. Gabriel's performance hasn't exactly been lighting up the scoreboard. It's been slow. It's been uninspired. The kind of play that has fans checking their watches and wondering how long this experiment has to last. But somehow, Coach Stefanski continues to double down. Week after week, he keeps trotting Gabriel out there like it's 100% fine. Like Sanders isn't right there. Clearly more prepared, more dynamic, and more in sync with the team's potential. But after this practice, the excuse-making might have finally hit a wall. Because Sanders didn't just outperform Gabriel. He exposed the gap. Completely. The body language from players said it all. Heads turning. Nods of approval. Veterans who usually keep quiet were watching. Not casually, intently. There was a vibe. A new energy. One that didn't revolve around Gabriel anymore. And Gabriel? You could see the panic. The second he felt the shift, it was like his confidence cracked. The rush mechanics, the hesitation. It all spiraled. It was clear he felt the pressure, and it was clear he wasn't ready for it. Now let's be real here. Shedeur Sanders has always had talent. That's not new information. But this wasn't just about skill. It was about leadership, command, presence, the qualities a team needs in a QB1 when things get tough. And as he ran drills and took snaps, it wasn't just a strong performance. It was a statement that he's ready. So then why is Gabriel still starting? That's the question on everyone's mind right now. Players feel it. Fans are screaming about it. The only one who doesn't seem to get it? Coach Stefanski. Because for reasons only known to the coaching staff, they are clinging to Gabriel like it's 2020. But it's not. And the offense has been stuck in neutral long enough. The refusal to make this switch is doing more than holding the team back. It's creating fractures. Morale is slipping. You can only watch so many 3-and-outs before it starts to wear on a locker room. And the longer Stefanski insists on sticking with a quarterback who's clearly not delivering, the more he risks losing the locker room and the season. And let's not pretend like this was some subtle thing, either. This wasn't one of those situations where coaches can spin it as neck and neck. No, this was clear-cut. Shedeur didn't just outperform Gabriel. He made Gabriel look bad. And what's worse, the coaching staff saw it. Everyone saw it. And after practice, The silence from them was deafening. No pep talks. No media spin. Just silence. A lot of it. That silence, that wasn't nothing. That was recognition. That was a staff realizing, maybe for the first time, that they can't hide behind their QB1 anymore. Not after that. Not after watching Sanders light up the field with the kind of clarity and confidence that's been missing for weeks, months even. The Browns are at crossroads. And let's be honest, they've been sitting at this intersection for a while now. But this practice, this is a U-turn sign flashing in their face. It's now or never. Because continuing to ignore what's right in front of them, that's not just stubborn. That's reckless. And if they don't act, if they don't give Sanders a shot he's clearly earned, they're going to lose more than just games. They're going to lose the faith of their fan base, the trust of their roster, and possibly the locker room entirely. This is what happens when leadership clings to comfort instead of results. Stefanski's refusal to pivot is no longer just frustrating. It's costing them, and people are noticing. Fans are louder. Players are quieter. And you don't need a press conference to know what that means. It means the clock is ticking. You can feel the shift in team dynamics. Players are aware. They saw what happened on that field. They know what leadership should look like. Sanders proved he has it. Gabriel proved he doesn't. And yet, the coaching staff's silence speaks volumes. Not just about the quarterbacks, but about their own indecision, their fear of making a bold move, their reluctance to admit they might have been wrong. But here's the thing. Teams don't get better by playing it safe. They don't win by doubling down on mediocrity. They win by adapting. They win by making the hard calls. And right now, there is one call that has to be made. Start Shedeur Sanders. Because this team still has potential. The pieces are there. The fans are still hanging on. But the leash is short. Another week of Gabriel under center, and it's going to snap. It's not just about one practice. It's about everything that led up to it. The stalled offense, the missed opportunities, the growing frustration, and now, the spark, the glimpse of what the team could look like under Sanders' leadership, the actual potential. And the longer Stefanski waits, the worse the fallout will be. Because every day that Sanders stays on the sideline is a day this team slips further away from what it could be. And fans, they're not waiting quietly anymore. At this point, it's not even about development. It's about direction. It's about identity. And right now, the identity of this team is confusion, indecision, a quarterback who looks lost, and a coach who's refusing to acknowledge it. That post-practice silence, that was the sound of a team reaching its limit. No shouting, no chaos, just a quiet realization that something has to change. And soon, because when leadership becomes stagnation, when decisions are delayed out of fear or pride, that's when seasons unravel. The Browns don't need more patience. They need a pulse. So here we are, the moment where excuses end, where the film doesn't lie, where the players, the fans, and probably even some of the coaches know the truth. Shedeur Sanders is the future of this team, and that future needs to start now. If the Browns want to turn this season around, if they want to show they're serious about winning and not just babysitting egos, then the decision is obvious. Start Sanders. 2. And if you've been yelling at your screen, if you've been waiting for this team to make the right call for once, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Gabriel should be benched? Should Stefanski finally face the pressure he's been avoiding? Hit that like button if you're ready for a quarterback change. Share this with your fellow fans who are over it. And don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns like this. Because trust me, this saga is far from over. Because let's be real, how much longer can this charade actually last? We're not just talking about a few underwhelming plays here. We're talking week after week of an offense that looks flatlined the moment Dillon Gabriel takes the field. No spark, no rhythm, no urgency. Just more of the same stalled drives and blank stares. And yeah, maybe early on, you could chalk it up to growing pains. New system, new environment, all that, but we are well past that stage now. This is a part of the season where things are supposed to click or collapse. Guess which one we're seeing? Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders isn't just knocking on the door, he's kicking it down. And what's wild is how obvious it is to everyone except the one person with the actual power to make the change. Stefanski's continued loyalty to Gabriel is starting to feel less like strategy and more like stubbornness on autopilot. And at this point, it's hurting everyone. Let's talk about the locker room. Because when a team watches the same mistakes get repeated and the same underperformer gets a free pass week after week, it doesn't just impact morale, it erodes trust. Players start looking sideways. Veterans go quiet. Younger guys wonder what it takes to earn a Real shot. It creates a culture where effort isn't rewarded, where results are ignored, and where everyone starts silently questioning leadership. And again, everyone saw that practice. Shedeur didn't just show flashes of talent. He displayed full control. Hitting receivers in stride, commanding the huddle, reading the defense before the snap even settled. It was a kind of performance that says, I'm ready to take over. And more importantly, it was the kind of performance that demands a response. But what did we get instead? Nothing. Just the same tired routine. Gabriel's still running with the first team. Stefanski's still mumbling vague coach speak about development and trusting the process. And that silence after practice? That wasn't strategy. That was paralysis. The truth is, the longer this drags on, the more damaging it becomes. Not just for the season, but for the franchise's future. Because if you got a quarterback like Sanders right there, fully capable, clearly outperforming the starter with the team behind him, and you still refuse to pull the trigger, what kind of message does that send? It tells the entire locker room that performance doesn't matter, that politics matter more than production, that the system is rigged. And when players stop believing in the fairness of leadership, it's game over. You want to talk about high stakes? This is it. This is the pivot point. Because the Browns aren't just playing for wins. They're playing to keep the trust of their fan base, their locker room, and the entire city that's watched this same cycle play out for far too long. Then trust me, fans see what's happening. You can feel it online. You can hear it on sports radio. People aren't just frustrated. They're fed up. Every game feels like a rerun. Every post-game press conference feels like gaslighting. And the worst part? The solution is right there. Throwing perfect spirals in practice. Waiting for a coach with enough guts to make the call. It's not like this would be some unprecedented gamble either. Quarterback changes mid-season happen all the time, especially when the numbers and the eye test both scream for it. But Stefanski's refusal to adapt is becoming a glaring issue on its own. Is it pride? Fear of being wrong? Some internal politics we're not seeing? Who knows? But the longer it continues, the harder it is to justify. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just a better option, he's the clear option. And it's almost offensive to pretend otherwise at this point. And look, no one's saying Gabriel is a bad guy. No one's questioning his work ethic or his commitment. But in the NFL, that only gets you so far. At the end of the day, it's a results business. And Gabriel's results just aren't cutting it. Not when the season's on the line. Not when your locker room is teetering. Not when the guy behind him is clearly ready to go. This isn't just about a quarterback controversy. It's about leadership. And leadership means knowing when to make the tough calls, when to admit the plan isn't working, when to stop doubling down on a bad bet just because you've already put so much into it. But maybe the most telling part of all this? The players acted like they already knew. During that practice, the shift in energy wasn't just about big throws or clean footwork. It was the way guys responded to Shedeur, the way receivers lined up with a little more urgency, the way the offensive line seemed just a little more locked in. That's not coincidence. That's chemistry. That's belief. And when Gabriel stepped back in, that energy dipped. The rhythm broke. The offense stalled. Again, that's not hate. That's reality. That's the difference between a team waiting for something to happen and a team believing something is happening. The Browns are sitting on a powder keg. One bad game away from total implosion. One more missed opportunity from fans officially checking out. One more press conference of vague, nothing speak from Stefanski before the noise becomes deafening. And if you think that's dramatic, just look around the league. Teams with less talent are winning more games simply because they're willing to adapt, to try something new, to trust what their eyes are telling them. And right now, Anyone with eyes can see what's happening in Cleveland. This team needs a new leader under center. Not in December. Not after the playoffs are out of reach. Now. So let's stop pretending this is about patience or development. This is about fear. Plain and simple. Fear of change. Fear of backlash. Fear of admitting that the guy you've been defending all season isn't the guy. But here's the thing. Real leaders don't let fear dictate their decisions. They own them. They adjust. They act. Because if they don't, the locker room will. And maybe that's what this team needs. A player-led revolution. Because if the coaching staff won't do what's obvious, someone will. And whether it's through subtle sideline moments or full-blown locker room pressure, that change is coming. The only question is, will it happen before it's too late? This season can be salvaged. The talent is there. The opportunity is still alive. But time is running out. The more they cling to Gabriel, the more likely it becomes that this team wastes another year of potential. And if Shedeur Sanders ends up sitting on the bench while the Browns fumble through another forgettable campaign, that's not just a failure. It's malpractice. So what are we doing here? What are we waiting for? You've got the guy. You've seen what he can do. The team has seen it. The fans have seen it. And at this point, even Gabriel probably knows it. This is a fork in the road. The decision that defines the season. The choice between bold action or more of the same. Segment, DG training camp. Because here's the thing. This story isn't over. Not even close. The pressure isn't just mounting. It's boiling. What happened at practice wasn't a fluke or an off day. It was a line in the sand. A turning point. The kind of moment that starts as a whisper inside the locker room and ends as a full-blown quarterback revolt if the staff keeps ignoring it. And let's not sugarcoat what happened. Dillon Gabriel got cooked. Not by the media. Not by fans on social media. But right there on the field in front of his teammates. By the guy waiting right behind him on the depth chart. That kind of embarrassment doesn't just go away with a pep talk or a film session. It lingers. It eats at your authority. And when players see it, when they feel it, they don't forget. That's the part Stefanski seems to be missing. Quarterbacks don't operate in a vacuum. Their success depends on buy-in, trust, belief. And the second that belief wavers, the second the locker room feels like they're going to battle with the wrong guy, you start losing more than games. You lose control of the team. And right now, that belief is shifting. Fast. The veterans saw what happened. The coaching staff saw it too, even if they won't say it out loud. The body language was undeniable. Gabriel couldn't command the offense. He couldn't command anything. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders was thriving under the same pressure, same defense, same spotlight. Calm, efficient, confident. It's not about hype. It's about evidence. And at this point, the evidence is overwhelming. So why the hesitation? Why is the coaching staff still trying to gaslight us into thinking this is some kind of healthy competition? This isn't close. This isn't nuanced. This is clear. And fans? They're tired of pretending otherwise. They've watched this team underperform for too long. They've been sold on development and sticking to plan while the offense sputters out week after week. And when you finally get a glimpse of hope, when you see a quarterback light it up in practice who looks ready to lead and the team still won't pull the trigger, that's not strategy. That's denial. And it's dangerous. Because let's not forget, every game matters. Every week they wait is another week they risk falling further behind. This is a part of the season where playoff pushes start or end. And if they keep riding with a quarterback who's clearly not elevating the offense, they might as well wave the white flag now. But here's what makes it worse. This isn't just about numbers or mechanics. This is about the message it sends. By sticking with Gabriel, the staff is telling the team, performance doesn't matter. It's not about who plays best. It's about who we've already committed to. That kind of message kills momentum. It kills morale. And eventually, it kills locker room culture. You can already feel the cracks forming. The tension after practice wasn't just awkward. It was telling. Coaches with arms crossed. Players walking off in silence. Not the kind of quiet you get after a hard-fought day. The kind of quiet that comes when people are holding back what they really want to say. And what they want to say is simple. We're ready for the change. What are you waiting for? But that's the thing. The coaching staff knows. They're just not acting. And that inaction is louder than any press conference. It's like watching someone refuse to put out a fire while the house slowly burns behind them. The signs are all there. The water is right next to them. But they just keep standing still, talking about staying the course. At some point, that stops being frustrating and starts being infuriating. Because Shedeur Sanders is right there. Ready, willing, more than able. And every day they keep him on the bench is a missed opportunity. Not just for the team, but for the season. The Browns don't have time to waste. Not now. Not with the division tightening. Not with fan patience running out. You only get so many chances to right the ship before it's too late. And if this team lets that window close because of one coach's unwillingness to adapt, that'll haunt them. So let's call it what it is. The clock is ticking. And the Browns are staring at a decision that will define everything that comes next. Stick with Gabriel and continue the slow fade into mediocrity, or hand the keys to Sanders and fight for the season. Because this isn't just a quarterback controversy anymore. It's a leadership test. And right now, the coaching staff is failing it. So what's it going to be? Are they going to keep pretending everything's fine while the team sinks? Or are they finally going to do what every single player, fan, and analyst can see needs to happen? Start Shedeur Sanders. It's that simple. It's that obvious. And if you're with us, if you've been yelling at the TV, screaming into group chats, begging this team to wake up, we want to hear it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you ready for Shedeur to take over? Should Gabriel finally be benched? Has Stefanski lost the plot? Smash that like button if you're done with the excuses. Share this with every frustrated Browns fan you know. And don't forget to subscribe. Because the drama? Oh, it's just getting started.